Now that we have finished all our props, our extra props, we want to export them. So what I did, I grabbed everything that I created and put it at the origin and freeze transformations and aligned everything so that I can export all the files. So that these are the files that are going into Unreal. So I already exported all of them. Then what I did was I created an extra group just for Substance, and I took them off the origin so that I can export. And I did this with everything. So now that I have everything exported, I have a high poly and a low poly model. So what I want to do is export all of them. You want to export these as OBJs instead of FBX, because when you do cloth, for some reason in the FBX, it doesn't keep the deformation. It comes out flat. I don't know if it's a bug, but for some reason I don't know what's causing it, but it's happening. So what you want to do is you grab all your low polys like so, export, and you just name it, and then come down into the drop menu and select OBJs. Leave it as default. If you don't see OBJs on your drop menu, all you want to do is go into Window, Settings and Preferences, Plugin Manager, and type OBJ up in over here. OBJ and check, and then press close, and it should appear in your drop down of file types. So once you export the file, you're gonna export the low and the high. Then we'll transfer over to Substance and press new, open, and import that OBJ file and press OK. Now the first thing you want to do as any model, bake your textures first. So increase the output size so that you can get a clean bake. Uncheck ID, click on to look for the high poly. Click on the high poly and then bake. And you're gonna see you're gonna have a clean bake just because you exploded everything and you have kept the deformations on the drape. So then the next thing you want to do is come into layers. Now we can start applying materials. The first material I want to apply, I'm going to start with the drape, since that's the technique I will be showing you guys how to apply a logo. So fabric, and I'll apply any fabric. I'll apply this one. And if you have the 2D and the 3D view, you will have this gridded lines, dotted lines, which you can adjust the scale of the texture. I'll leave it like so. And then I'll change the color to match more the picture. You could do any color that you want. And then the lower one, I'll do kind of greenish but darker. There you go. You could do any color that you want. Then you want to add a logo. So you go online, and I typed logos. You can create this in Photoshop. You can create this in any program. You grab any PNG that you want. It has to be a PNG file. So I downloaded this image. So I opened Photoshop. And what I did was, the image itself was not a PNG. It was a JPEG. So what I did, I selected everything, deleted the outside, and just left the logo itself. Then saved it as PNG, so that it retains the alpha channel. If you want now this same image as an alpha, what you want to do is you add a black layer on the back, this image, what we do is we'll select everything like so, and then make it white. And now save that. PNG. Name it alpha and save. Now that we have that, all we want to do, if we want to the color image, you drag and drop in here and set it as a texture if you want it with the colors that it brought. So project, import, you have it right here. If you want the alpha, then you click and drag, select alpha to the project, import. Now you have an alpha. So now if we want to just place the image, all we want to do is grab that logo and put it in base color. Just uncheck metal, roughness, normal, height. And then when you click, you're going to have the logo pasted how you downloaded from the image. And you could do this here or in the 2D view, like so. Now, if you want the alpha so that you can add the colors that you want, you look for that alpha, take it off the color and just go into the brush, regular brush, and then click on the alpha itself. It'll apply the alpha and you can see that your cursor changed into that shape. Then when you click on it, you can set, now you can, what you could do is you can come in here in advanced, in the settings, and you can change the rotation of how you want that brush to be. If you're going to like click and drag, you can set the spacing. If it's going to have different sizes. You can also the angle, so you can modify the rotation. You could do lots of stuff, but we would just want one. So we'll check those, and if you click once, then you have the logo. Then if you want to like fade the borders, what you could do is you could do two things. If you want to do procedurally, you just add a black mask, right click, add a generator, and let's put a dirt. And you see it's faded. Now you can adjust the settings here. And then if you want more control, what you could do is right click on the layer and click add a paint layer. So now you can select, let's say this smudge, and then you can just, or add, and if you press X, because you're painting with a grayscale, I'm painting in white, so I'm adding. If I press X, it'll go into black. So then I can just delete some of my edges if I need to, or add any other wear to my logo, like so. This is one way of doing it. The other way is if you add a fill layer, uncheck metal, roughness, normal, height, add the color that you want, then add a black mask. Then what you could do is look for that alpha, select it, and in the mask itself, you can add it. Now you have, with this technique, you have an option of changing the color as you want, or modifying it, or adding even another material to it. So if you want to add a material instead, you can just grab it, come into the materials. So we have this leather, Now what you want to do is you copy mask, then add a black mask and paste into mask. Now you have a leather pattern on your logo. With this technique, you can't use a generator because the generator uses, but you can use a paint layer. And with the paint layer, then you can just delete what you don't need. So there's downsides to both sides. On this one, every time you want to change the color, you will have to do it manually. With the fill layer, you will have to do it on the mask, but you cannot use procedural. You have to do it manually. And those are the two ways to add logos to any mesh that you want. And if you want the color to be the value of the color to be higher, you can also duplicate the layer, and the more you duplicate, the more is multiplying the colors on the bottom. So you could do multiply, and create an effect like that. The only problem with this one is that you cannot change the color again. And that's how you apply the material. And then after you're done, all you want to do is grab everything, group it, and then black mask and select the faces and just select the part you want. And you're left with that. Then the rest, that's one of the techniques I use to add logos to my meshes. On the next video, I'm gonna be already in Unreal. I'm going to export all these textures, import it into Unreal, and we're gonna start finishing and working on our environment so that we can have more time in the engine, since we already done this whole process.